Hello, in this video I want to share with you details on the timeline in Easy Video Lab. So this is a timeline right here. It will tend to open up, kind of in a normal size. You might want to zoom out or whatever. You have the ability to zoom in or out to see everything on the timeline. I can click on this to move it around if it's overlapping something, if I need to fit it into my monitor better. And I can click down here and I can open things up and add more space if I need that as well. So now over here, you'll see that it lists on the left-hand side what type of layer we're dealing with. So we have animations layers, video layers, audio layers, and we have a backgrounds layer. You have the ability to add additional layers up here. So I can add a layer there. And by the way, I can specify what type of layer to add. And then I can also specify what type of layers to remove if I don't need that extra layer. I can move things on the timeline left or right if I click on that asset and move it around, so that maybe if I want this to start a second later or something like that, I can do that. Now, the different types have the ability to trim or move things around. Like in this particular, the video here, if I hover over the right-hand side or the left-hand side, we'll see icons, double arrows. My Mac actually kind of has some sort of problem with that. We've been trying to figure out what is unique about my Mac that does that, but I can't see them. But on yours, most computers, you'll see the little double arrows when you hover over the left or the right-hand side. I'm on the right-hand side, and currently I can basically trim this. It's currently in trim mode, so that would basically cut off part of the video if I drag to the left. This is only a 15-second video, so I can't really go to the right if I'm in trim mode. But in scale mode, I can basically do the same thing. Notice that it's changed colors to indicate that we're in scale mode instead of trim mode. And I can, now if I click and drag, I can do that. What's going to happen there is it's going to make that shorter or longer. It's just going to take the full video, and instead of trimming it, it's going to just make it either run faster if I do this or run slower if I do that. Now we have undo and redo up here, so I can undo that and so forth. So I get that back to what I had it before, go back to trim mode, and we're all kind of back where we were before. Now I can drag between layers, so but I can only do that between the same type layers. So if I have animations here, I can drag that down to here if I wanted to, or if I created a new layer, I could drag it to the new layer. Same thing goes for video and for audio. So that gives you the general idea here. We have a duplicate block that I kind of didn't mention, and of course the ability to delete blocks. If I was, say for example, I wanted to didn't want the character in here and I just wanted the text, I could go ahead and delete that block in order to do that. So another thing last thing to point out is you can adjust what's called the Z order of things. And let me move this lady over here so that we can see this. Now she's currently below the text animation, and if I control click on that, you can see that I've come up with these options for moving the stack around. So even though the animation layer with the lady is on below the text animation, I can still move it to the top of the stack even though it's still below. And so the order of things here normally isn't reflective. It doesn't have to be reflective of whether something is above or below it. So I can do something like move this over, kind of drag this up, and then I can get that text animation and move it down if I really need for the Z order to be reflective of what's actually going to appear on the stage. So that's the general features of the timeline inside of Easy Video Lab.